All right, so here's the 6383, or excuse me, 6384 motor. I kind of just peeled back the sheath a little bit. You can see the wire colors don't make any difference at all. They don't make any difference. I'm gonna replace it all with just black wires. These are 12 gauge, nice silicone, a lot of strands in it. I've also used this on like the foil assist drive. So it has this is anchor marine grade wire. The thing you got to be careful when you're doing this is if you don't cut these wires the right length, then it'll be all twisted up and bad. So you can see how these, and I'll show you when I actually desolder these first, that you need to kind of match those lengths. So that middle wire will be a lot shorter than the other wires if you're going to use something like this. Now if you're just going to do individual ones, which is what I plan on doing, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to do this for an example, but I'll have probably 5 feet or something each. I don't know the exact length I'm going to need right now, so usually just do it a little longer. So without further ado, let me just, again, I'm not going to use these, but this works as well. You just got to make sure you get the lengths right, because if you try to just solder these like this, it doesn't work very well. It'll be kinked up there. All right, so now all we have is heat shrink here, and you can see like the wires don't even, they touch and connect. So I don't know how these are wound. I'm not an expert. I'm not an engineer. I don't know. All I know is that all I do is replace, and I put heat shrink. That's kind of the same thing, and then shrink it up over it. So we'll show you how that works. So first I'm just gonna kind of take this, cut these wires off, get rid of them. Again, the color wires, the order of wires, it does not matter when you set up your speed controller or whatever you're going to do. We can talk about that later, but it's not a big deal. So let me pause that here. All right, now I got all 3 wires exposed. You can see it's just a little bit of solder on there, each one. It's just joint to joint. That's literally it. So I got my hot solder iron here. Love my soldering irons. Not very good at it, but you know. For this is easy because I'm just gonna heat the crap out of it. I have this temperature maxed out, so you can see I'm just gonna kind of see what there's. Takes 2 seconds. And I got a lot of heat on here. Nice solder fumes. That's it. All right, let's prep the other ones here. So now I got these wires. I'll probably save these, maybe use these bolt connectors later on, but right now I'm not going to. And for this, I have this Kester stuff. These are tinned already, but I usually just add a little bit just to keep it together. Just add a little bit of this here. And then kind of tin this wire. I'm gonna move this out of the way for a second. I get a little heat on there. There's a little bit in there. Nice. Again, these are already, like each one of these individual strands are tinned, but I just add a little bit for ease later on. All right, now I add a little bit of solder to these endpoints here. And I already tinned the other one pretty good. And then, actually, let me get these wires will heat up pretty quick. Let me get everything lined up real good here. I can kind of melt them together. Try to get everything nice and hot. Let's see what we can do. Ooh, yeah, there we go. There we go. Get this side, make sure we're getting everything nice and heated up. Don't want to have a cold solder joint. All right. Hopefully you can see that. Let me try to zoom in a little bit more. My soldering skills are not the best, but let me zoom back in here. I mean, it ain't, I'm ripping at that pretty hard. And these things are, you know, I'm yanking that really hard. Hopefully it's a good solder joint. I don't know. There's probably some professionals here that are gonna yell at me and say I ain't no good. And then I'll just take a little bit of heat shrink here. And again, depending on, like, it's really gonna be case by case. I'll just take a little piece of heat shrink. That'll fit over the wire here. And I would have put this on beforehand. But what I'm trying to do is just mimic like it was before. I'm gonna slide it all the way down on top. You can see I kind of took it all the way down to even where it kind of crosses over that, which I don't think it matters because those wires were touching before I did this. And then all you do is just put some heat on it. I don't feel like getting out my heat gun, so I'm just gonna use this awesome torch here. And just heat it up, heat it up, heat it up. And then all this length and stuff, it's all just gonna be really depending on what your personal needs are. And I'm not gonna leave this on there, I'm just doing this for demonstration. All right, get a nice heat shrink. And I'm telling you, that motor would have to rip off whatever you put it on. And then I just repeat for 2 and 3. And again, wire lengths. And then, you know, the length of the heat shrink might be dependent on if you want extra protection there at a joint or something where it comes out. I did forget to have mentioned, so I already took it apart because, again, I'm not using it. So there's this slot here, if you remember from taking it apart, where this goes, and actually it goes in here to align that, right? So knowing that information, know that all these wires are going to come together like this to exit this hole right here, right? So what I do, because these are much bigger wires, is I just take a pair of snips. It's just like aluminum or whatever. And you can literally just take a little pair of snips and just snip these things off. Cut them wherever you need, whatever size. And then I just take a little bit of a file. I don't know if I have one sitting here. But a little file and just kind of clean up the edges, make sure they're not sharp. And if you have each one of these individually heat shrinked, then if you want to even give it more protection, you could take something bigger, some bigger, thicker double wall or whatever. Just remember, you gotta make this hole the same size to be able to fit everything. But again, that alignment is very important. This center one's gonna go straight out, and these two are gonna collapse in to go out this hole here because of that alignment, right? So once that alignment's in there, they all gotta come out the same hole. That's why the length, if you're using something like this, those lengths are very important, right? Because if you did all the same lengths, it doesn't work. You have to do 2, and then you got to cut one down shorter for that middle wire. Hopefully that helps a bit.